All the low green bushes you see on the island are the vines. And if you look on your right in a second, you will see a lot of green patches everywhere. Those are the vines. That's what they look like in Santorini. In Santorini, it is not possible to use the trellis system. The trellis system is the name of the most common technique to train vines. That's probably what you do in your countries. When you see the vines going up, the wires, that's what it's called. Here it's not really possible because we have this big issue with the wind. It can be very windy in Santorini. It's always been one of the main problems on this island. And it's especially true from May on when fruiting begins. So the grapes will be this size at the beginning, very, very small. And if they are not sheltered somehow, they will be destroyed. It's that simple. They will be destroyed by the strong winds or harmed by the strong winds. So when the time comes to harvest from the end of July on, people would not have any grapes to harvest. So they have to use another technique that is more complicated. And it is a lot of work. Everything is done by hand. And I will explain you now what it is that people have to do every winter when the vine is dormant. That means roughly between November and March. And during the winter month, experienced vine growers will go to the vineyards, and for every single vine, keep in mind, every single vine, you will have to choose the 3 or 4 best canes. You keep the canes in your hands and you weave them into a basket shape. So the low green bushes you see, it's actually a basket, something that looks like a basket without the bottom, or a wreath, if you know the word in English, or even a bird's nest. That's exactly what it looks like. And at the moment what you see is the leaves on the outside. That's why it's difficult to understand what's inside, but it looks to be very sweet, almost overripe, to be able to produce the famous sweet wines of the island, among which Vinsanto, among which Camaritis, which is the one you will taste in a few minutes. And to produce the sweet wines of the island, we eat those overripe grapes. We will leave them in the sun to sun dry for about a week, sometimes 2 weeks. The exact number of days depends on the wine you want to produce, the levels of humidity, the temperatures, but roughly between 1 or 2 weeks. And it's when the grapes are partially desiccated that they will be used to produce those wines that will then be oaked in French barrels for many years, from 2 years minimum up to 10, 15, 20, 25 years sometimes. And those sweet wines of the island keep aging in the bottle for many, many years to come. The same, 10, 15, 20, 25. Not an issue. The older, the better. So this is the first thing I really wanted you to know, because this is quite unique in Santorini. Another piece of information I wanted to share with you is that in Santorini you will not really find what you know, meaning the international variety you know or you might have in your country. I'm thinking about Chardonnay, if we're talking about lovely white wines, or Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Noir. Forget about those. Here in Santorini, we cultivate at the moment officially 35 grape varieties. I believe there's more. I believe it's somewhere between 40 and 45. Some of them are quite rare, less than 1% on the island. Most of them are white. The island is famous for white wines and for dessert wines, naturally sweet wines. Even though with this tour, the second wine you will taste today will be a red wine. We usually have a red wine in between, as most people are curious and they would like to know what a red wine tastes like, so we do have a red wine in between. But the island at the moment is mostly known for wines and for dessert wines. The main wine variety of the island that is cultivated in about 80-85% of all the vineyards of the island is called Assyrtiko. Quite a difficult name. And the Assyrtiko variety can be found all over Greece, especially in the last 20-25 years, as it's considered one of the best wine varieties in this country. But originally, it is from Santorini. It is indigenous, so it is specifically from Santorini, because it's not. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be, very traditional. It reflects what Santorini was in the past. And it's underground, 8 meters below ground level. And it's like a tunnel that is about 300 meters long. And there you will learn a lot about Santorini, about the old traditions of Santorini, about the winemaking process, of course, and you will see a lot of tools and equipment that have been used on the island to produce wine since the 17th century until recently, until the 1940s. So this is the real Santorini. This is where people really live, which is most of the island, away from the cliffside, where life tends to be a bit cheaper also. The cliffside is, you notice for sure, is very expensive compared to the rest of the island. So this is where people really live, away from the cliffside. And that's why you see ruins everywhere. Wherever you go on the island, just not on the cliffside that much anymore, The ruins you see, they have to do with the earthquake of 1956. So those are the basic things I wanted you to know, to have an idea of why Santorini looks the way it does, and to have an idea about wine. When we do the wine tasting session, either me or Denny, that is working at the winery, we will give you information about each wine that you are going to try. Don't worry about that. We will be there in about 5-6 minutes now. I will tell you when we arrive.
Kayo din ate. Tasting. Lasingan ako. Lasingan ako kapatid. Lasingan. Very fun. Oh!
They were on their way to another cyclonic island called Ceos. They were traded by sea. They were illegally sold olive oil. These were small boats and they were really local hours. But when they brought them here, they came up, they saw the potential of land. They bought that and they stayed here ever since. That was in 1870. Now we're on the fourth generation of the Amish family. The fifth, which is in the summer, because he's still in college.
Malayo siya.
Wow, oh my God. Guys, so I can... Oh, it's a video. It's a video. It's heavy, it's heavy. Doing this right now.
After you try.
It's a cinnamon. Lalasingin ako dito. Is it?
Hindi, after.
Oh, pabili first.
No, first.
First, you need to open it here. Here. I need to open it.
With you.
Oh, wow.
Then you do it.
So hard. Right?
Sarap nito. Ito the best.
I never understood that. But it never comes
Alam mo, really great.
sarap.
Oh, dapat ayaw mo yung pangalawa.
Every time you try a new different wine, you have to change the palate.
Two glass.
Andun ka. Nakadalawa ka.
Sarap. Yeah, I don't like it very crispy.
But you only
But
drink
the
it.
thing is, nag-blend sila nung nag-blend ang chocolate. I never done that.
You only drink it.
One day say you have to eat this
What
one.
is their point? Bachale yan.
Too sweet.
Sarap. Ito na ako natin. Ay, belokan kita. Hindi. Pag ulit pwede.
Video na kapatid. What did your husband like the best?
The white was better.
The white? You don't get the little plain?
Let's try it. Let's try it. I'm okay with that. But see, wine and food is a personal choice. Red, I was not too fond of.
The one?
Red, I was
Red.
really okay. That one is good.
It's too sweet. I mean, the last one is good because they gave me 2 glass.
That's why you don't like that.
So good.
Nabalik ka siya. Parang
Guys, we're going to buy this one is so good. So good. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Uy, wala akong solo dito.
Yes, guys. Yes, guys.
Wala.